Assalamu, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Man has been around for a long time, and the difficulties that man has haven't changed. Each generation goes through the same turmoil. Each individual goes through the same turmoil. And each of us in our time has to decipher the nature of this existence. Each of us in our time has to understand the nature of form and the nature of formlessness. And as we develop, we have to understand what form is, where form takes us, and what formlessness is, the unseen, and where the unseen takes us. We have to understand the nature of our consciousness. And unless we analyze these things, unless we spend time trying to figure out the nature of our consciousness and the nature of our relationship to each other and to God, we are left with a reactive life, a life that reacts to that which goes on around it, but has no independent action wherein it attempts to find the truth. And this is the life of most people in the world. They live as animals, even though they have the capacity to become humans. A human is a man who has entered into truth. Until that happens, he is not truly a human being. He is less than that. He is an animal in human form. The universe is made up of the five elements. All of the universe is made up of the elements. We are made up of the elements, and the entire universe is made up of the elements. And each of us has a body that's made up of the elements, and it flies everywhere. It is a bird without wings, and it's full of illusion. It's called the bird of the universe. In other words, the bird of the elements. We go from here to there, and we don't have an understanding of where, in fact, it is we are going. And there are really two birds, and these birds are known as mind and desire. And since ancient times, man has tried to explain mind and desire, to explain its nature, to explain how it affects us, and to understand who and what it is within us. We should understand that mind and desire are elemental. They are not divine. They are of the earth, and they deal with the earth. And you should also know that mind and desire are trying to kill your truth. Mind and desire have their own agendas. They have their own ideas. They have their own nature. And they strive to to fulfill that nature. And their nature is opposite to your truth. So if they prevail, they kill that which is in you that is capable of knowing the truth. And we have to understand that. Wisdom is sent by God, by the divine, to kill mind and desire because mind and desire are trying to kill man. Um, Desire is huge. It's as big as the world. And the mind is even bigger than that. So you have these two entities inside ourselves that are trying to control us and trying to maintain us within Maya, trying to maintain us within illusion, trying to maintain us outside of the realm of reality, inside the realm of the world. Now, if we understand consciousness, we understand that there is sense, awareness, and intellect. These three are within all animals. All animals have sense, awareness, and intellect. They are aware of what surrounds them. They try to conclude what they need to do to make what surrounds them be of some kind of comfort to them. And intellect is the process that works this out. It's entirely a worldly process. It's entirely a process that deals with the elements and that deals with illusion. The world is illusory. It doesn't last. It is temporary in its nature. And this deals with that temporary manifestation as if, in fact, it was forever. And it's not. And we, each of us, has to understand that it's not. So we have to begin to understand this elemental story that we live. And we have to write the elemental story of our life and what our life is like in this elemental story. What happens to us as we strive to conquer this world? What happens to us as we strive to get along within the elements in the world of illusion? How does that react to us? We need to know this story. But that's not enough because that isn't all there is. There's also the unseen. And so we have to begin to delve into understanding the unseen. Now, one of the things that we need to recognize is that the edge of intellect is religion. Religion doesn't necessarily enter into the divine realms. It's a realm that is within the world. Men who understood the divine came to the earth, the prophets, and were given instructions and told people how to live their lives. And all of the prophets came with the same message. But what happened is that men who surrounded these prophets made religions out of what they brought. And so we end up with different religions in different parts of the world, identifying different ways to do things and creating differences between themselves and the other religions. This has led to wars, to conflict, to killings, to murder, and to unrest within the world since time immemorial. It has been going on over and over and over, and religion has been one of the causes for all of this unrest. And why is that? Because religion is tied to the earth. Religion is tied to understanding the form and to controlling the form. So, very much of religion is about making this one religion more powerful than the others, excluding other religions, and trying to convert other people to one certain religion. But God has no religion. God is beyond religion. God is truth. And this is the beginning of the fourth level of consciousness, when we begin to understand that there's something wrong with the way we approach the world and the way that men in general approach the world. They approach it as if it's everlasting. They approach it as if conflict is something that is sustainable and normal, that for some reason we can adhere to certain religions, yet be in conflict with other religions. That we can talk about thou shalt not kill, but then all of a sudden, when it comes to others, it becomes permissible to do things that we know are not permissible. How did this occur? How did it occur that that which is not permissible becomes permissible in between religions when they are in conflict? We have to be able to get a hold of understanding that. And to do that, we have to begin to move towards the unseen. We have to understand that there's more to us than this elemental self. We have to understand that there is also a soul. And we have to begin to question about, where did this soul come from? Where is this soul now? What's our relationship to this soul? And what's the story of this soul? The story of mind, desire, and earth is a story of physical visions. It's a story of what we see and how we react. But the story of the soul is a different story entirely. It's a story about the unseen and that which is unseen. And we have to, each of us, begin to understand that what we see with our physical senses, what we touch with our physical senses, is not reality. That what we touch with our physical senses, when you mix that with ignorance, we come up with science. And science begins to try to explain how the world works based on that which is physical. And then every 30 years or so, they come around with a new theory, because none of this is based in reality. It's based in illusion. And if you're basing things in illusion, they aren't going to last. They're going to change over time. So we have to begin to understand, what is it that's formless? And the truth of man is formlessness. The true human being is beyond form. The true human being is beyond that which you can see. His nature is beyond that. He has gone beyond intellect into wisdom. Wisdom is a different point of view. And to begin to understand the point of view that is wisdom, you have to be taught a new way to see. You have to be taught a new way to look. And the only way that can truly happen is through interaction with a sheikh, with a guru, with a teacher who understands the new way to look. If I point at something and ask what it is, most people will react by indicating what the finger is pointing at. But the truth is, if I hold up a finger, I say, "What's that?" It's only a finger. Most men don't recognize it. Most men need to be taught how to see in a different way. The sheikh will begin to teach you how to see in a different way. The guru will begin to teach you how to see in a different way. For instance, we have, in the course of our lives, all kinds of trauma, all kinds of difficulties, all kinds of upsetments. Illusion uh, batters us. The world batters us. Our circumstances batter us. How do we react to this battering? How do we react to this constant onslaught of difficulties that comes into our lives in this world? Well, some people fight, some people kill, and some people run away and hide. The sheikh teaches you about forbearance and reality. The sheikh teaches you about patience and kindness. The sheikh teaches you about how to withstand the difficulties without reacting, how to take on all of these difficulties and not reacting to these difficulties, not reacting to these difficulties. In order to learn this, the usual prescription is that you have to stay with the sheikh for 12 years. And over that course of time, you will learn about patience. You will learn about forbearance. You will learn about kindness. You will learn about his actions. Now, if you stay with the sheikh and you learn lots of knowledge, unless you're able to take this knowledge and actually bring it into your being and learn how to act in the same way as the sheikh acts, it's of no value. Knowledge without the ability to use that knowledge in your being is of no value. So there's a subtle point here. And that subtle point is that the path that you are following is the path of becoming the sheikh. You become the same as the sheikh. If you can't become the sheikh, you can't do what the sheikh does. And the sheikh is given the gracious qualities of God. He gets them from God, and then he gives them to each of the people who come before him. And in order to be able to incorporate them into your life and to use them correctly, you have to have his attitude, his action, his patience, his forbearance, his steadfastness, his contentment, his ability to be steadfast in the face of difficulty. When all of the trouble comes, he'll be able to stand there and withstand it. Can we stand there and withstand it? Can we take on what comes and attacks us and not change our nature? Can we take on what comes and attacks us and stay within the qualities of the sheikh? This is a great gift that the sheikh gives you. It's the gift of God's power. And it's God's power that allows you to withstand the difficulties of the world. But to be able to use God's power, you have to have all the qualities that the sheikh has, or you can't use them. You have to be able to do all of this without harming, hurting, abusing anybody else. You have to be able to do all this and stay within the qualities that belong to God. And the qualities that belong to God are mercy and compassion. They are without the animosity towards others. So, can we move forward without animosity towards others? Can we come to conclusions that bring about peace as opposed to bringing about division? Religions, when they come head to head, for some reason, begin to bring about divisions. But that's when they haven't yet reached the divine. Wisdom is beyond the differences of the world. Wisdom is beyond the differences of individuals. Wisdom has to do with unity. Illusion is darkness. It is only the light of wisdom that can remove this darkness. And to be able to remove this darkness, you have to be contained within the qualities that bring light. Now, this light may be limited to just you in a small group. It may be just your own light, and you can find a place of peace. It doesn't mean that because you've found peace, the whole world will find peace. It also doesn't mean that just because the rest of the world doesn't find peace, you shouldn't find peace. This world has a tendency to take on the ideas of its predecessors, to take on the ideas of its relations, to take on the ideas that come with its birth. So if we're born into a specific region, and we're born into a specific culture, and we're born into a specific religion, it's very difficult for anyone to drop the ideas of that culture, of that religion, of that way of being. And anything that goes against that culture or that religion or that way of being becomes an enemy. And man seems naturally to be able to create enemies. Can we turn that around to where we understand that if unity exists, there is no enemies? If unity exists, there is no differences. And all the differences are prior to divinity, are prior to understanding truth, are prior to understanding reality. So if we are stuck in the world of illusion, in the world of form, all of these differences exist because in form, there is differences. In our physical visions, there is differences. But to go beyond our physical visions, it's a very difficult thing to do and to comprehend. But if we sit with the sheikh, we can see that when the sheikh looks at something, he doesn't look at it in the way that we look at it. He looks at it differently. He doesn't see the differences that we see. He doesn't see the animosities that we see. He doesn't become embroiled in the pettiness that we become embroiled in. It's a different point of view. It's the point of view of wisdom. It's the point of view that comes from partaking in the unseen. This needs to be done for our progress. To enter into the world of truth, to enter into the world of reality, to enter into God's kingdom, we have to be able to leave the form. And if we can't leave the form, we can't enter into that world. And most of this world, most of the people in this world are more interested in maintaining their idea of what form should look like than moving on towards what reality looks like. So people want their religion to prevail. People want their language to prevail. People want their customs to prevail as if they were eternal. But they're not eternal. Everything is temporary. And unless we understand the temporary nature of things, we are blinded by mind and desire, and we believe that we can conquer form, and we can't conquer form. There are many fables that try to explain the nature of mind and desire and how it affects man. One of them is that mind and desire both prayed that nothing could harm them, that they would be immune from being harmed by the world. And a boon was granted to them where nothing could harm them. And they began to create havoc within the world. Everywhere they went, they created desire, and this desire led to difficulties, and people began to erupt against each other because they all had different desires and they were all trying to fulfill them. So some men began to pray to God and said, "You've got to do something about this. We can't seem to be able to do it ourselves." And God sent wisdom to combat mind and desire. And wisdom came as a beautiful woman. And first, desire saw this beautiful woman and said to the woman, "I have to have you." And the woman says, "Well, I'm married, but I find you very attractive. And if you kill my husband, you can have me." And he said, "We live in this and this area in this cave. And if you go there at 4:30, my husband will be there and you can kill him and then you can have me." And after desire came, mind came and saw wisdom again as a beautiful woman. And wisdom said to the mind, she said, uh, wisdom said to the beautiful woman, "I have to have you." And she said, "I'm married." And he said, "Well, what can I do?" She said, "Well, you can kill my husband. And at 4:30, he'll be in such and such a place." So mind and desire met at 4:30 and began to fight with each other and began the process of destroying each other. And then they recognized each other and they said, "What are we doing?" And then the beautiful woman who was wisdom came by again, and they both said, "Well, I should be the one who have her." And they both said that, and they continued to fight until they did away with each other. And when they did away with each other, man was able to see truth again. Now, we have to understand that mind and desire work within the realm of the world. They work within the realm of form. Desire creates a need, mind tries to fulfill that need. Now, mind and desire are both incapable of understanding the nature of God. They're also both incapable of seeing God. So, what are they trying to do? They're trying to kill the truth that is man, because man's truth is with God. And so, in order for us to be able to survive and find our truth, we have to do away with mind, and desire. And what is it that does away with mind and desire? It's the effulgence of the beauty of God that entrances mind and desire to the point where they are overcome and can no longer function. The beauty of the effulgence of God overwhelms mind and desire, and then we can escape from them and their influence over us. Now, let's think about the influence that mind and desire have over us. We have all of these ideas. We have all of these plans. We have all of these things that we need in order for our life to be appropriate. If we don't get them, we go into depressions. We go into difficulties because we haven't conquered the world the way we think we should conquer the world. Well, what is it that we need to conquer? Is it the world that we need to conquer, or is it ourselves that we need to conquer? And what is it in ourselves that we need to conquer in order to find truth, in order to find contentment, in order to find reality? Well, if you listen to the sheikh, if you listen to the teacher is never talking about material wealth. The teacher is never talking about fame within the world. The teacher is never talking about conquering the world. He's always talking about fighting the battle within yourself so that the world becomes irrelevant to you and God becomes what's relevant. So that the love for God overwhelms and becomes more important than the love for the world. This is the teaching. This is the true understanding. To come to the real beauty in existence as opposed to the temporal beauty in existence, as opposed to the beauty in existence which lasts for a minute and fades away, like youth. Youth is very beautiful, but youth fades away. Wisdom has the beauty of youth. So, whatever our age, if we find wisdom, the beauty of youth returns to us, and we are like 16-year-olds. If we find wisdom and are able to move through the form of this world of form into the world of the unseen, beauty returns to us because in the unseen, the qualities are everlasting. In the unseen, the qualities don't have any demise to them. In the unseen, there is no end to the wealth that is available. And no matter what you get from God, no matter what you receive from God, there's enough for everybody else. So there's no need to fight. There's no need to be able to come to the point where you can suppress your fellow man because everything is available to you. Because in unity, all is available to all without restriction. But as long as we feel we're restricted, as long as we feel we are somehow deprived, then all of the reactions of mind and desire will erupt within us, and we will erupt, and so will everyone who feels this way, and then the world goes back to the way the world is. So, in truth, what is it that we have to do? We have to escape from the everyday world. We have to escape from the everyday ideas. We have to escape from illusion and take on reality. We have to be able to perceive the beauty of wisdom and understand that this overwhelms everything else we can think of. It is when this beauty is seen, and when we see this beauty, then mind and desire within us will become entranced and will lose their power. And they will lose their power over us. And when they lose their power over us, then we can become real human beings. We can understand the unity of existence. We can stop seeing the differences, but see the unity. We can stop seeing the form and understand the unseen. And in the unseen, Allah, in His mercy, has given to us the ability to perceive His qualities and to integrate these qualities into our being. And the gift of His qualities, the gift of mercy, the gift of compassion, the gift of justice is greater than any gift available in the earth. It's greater than gold. It's greater than fame. It's greater than power. It's greater than anything mind and desire can conceive of. And that's why when the beauty of the effulgence of God is seen, mind and desire lose their power. It's then that the darkness of our past will be expelled, and the darkness of our old life will be expelled, and our real life will begin. And we have to ask God to provide for us the ability to see that truth, the ability to hold on to that truth, the ability to become part of that truth, and to become one with that which is everlasting, which does not have any end, and which is unified in the Godhead. Once we realize that, then all of the minor things will fade away from us. All of the worries and tribulations will fade away from us because we know they're not real. All that's real is God and His qualities, and His qualities are such that they lead to freedom of our being, freedom of our soul, freedom of our truth, freedom of our intention, and they free us from all of the darkness of differences. We have to beg for this. We have to beg to be free of differences, because once we're free of differences, we will know the truth, and we can become like our teachers and understand reality. May that be the portion for each and every one of us. Ameen, Ameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.